Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of WP the Podcast. I'm David Blackman.
And I'm Tim Streifler.
Today, in episode 736, we're going to talk about what site architecture is and why it's important when building a website. If you didn't listen to yesterday's episode and you're dropping in, like a paratrooper going into battle, and you just hit this episode, you may want to listen to 735 because we talk about the 5 most crucial pages and we kind of allude to why this is important and stuff. So, Tim, why don't you tell people what site architecture is, and then we'll dive off into this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So site architecture is essentially, it's like the table of contents for your website. It's basically having a plan of what your website is about, what is going on what pages, how the pages are interconnected and linked. And basically, when you have a planned out site architecture, it makes creating the content a lot easier because you're not just winging it and trying to figure out, well, do I want to say this here? Do I want to put it here? And that sort of thing. And so for like a simple brochure website, that's 5 pages, like the 5 most crucial pages we talked about in yesterday's episode. The site architecture is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be rather flat. But for like a really big website with a lot of content, a lot of resources, a lot of different areas of the site, well, it's going to be a really wide, think of it like a spider, right? Where it's like you have the top of it and it kind of comes down into these sections and these sections. And then it's like a pyramid in terms of all the different places where it gets interconnected and how deep it goes. And so you could have a really kind of, I guess, shallow kind of has like a negative connotation to it, but like a shallow site architecture for like a really simple site, small business just needs an online presence. And then you can have a really deep and really wide site architecture for a really large website. So that's essentially it. So David will tell you why it's important. And then I'll tell you kind of my process for mapping it out. And the way I think about it after that.
Yeah. And why it's important, I want to kind of add to what Tim was talking about and stuff in the site architecture. The reason it's important is because it's for your user. You know your business. You know what your goals are with your business. You know whether you want to sell them a service or you want to sell them a product. You want them to buy your t-shirt or your hat or whatever it is that you're selling, products or services. And you know your customer better than anybody. So if you know what gets them to quote unquote close the sale more than anybody, so you want to, when they come to your site, you want to take them on through this journey. Site architecture is important for 2 reasons. One is for the search engines, and the other is for the customer. The customer is most important. And if you focus on the customer, if you have the mindset of the most valuable, relevant content for my avatar, my customer, search engines like Google are going to know that. So it's going to be 2-pronged and it's going to suit you really, really well. So that when they come in, Tim was talking about a shallow website. You may have a brochure website, a locally owned business that's been around forever, and you only want to have them contact you. So when you're thinking of a shallow website, the flow may be the customer comes into your homepage, and whatever story you want to tell them on that homepage might be directing them to fill out a form or pick up the telephone and call you so that you can enter their data in your CRM or your whatever you're using for your customer info. It may be something as simple as that. You may be wanting to take them to the contact page, for example, because what's most important for your business, what you found, is having them contact you so that you can engage with them and stuff. So, and that's kind of an example of a shallow site. But Tim and I run some pretty complex, well, not run, but we own some pretty complex and run e-commerce websites. We have a lot of things going on our website, and we have a lot of, potential ways for customers to find us, whether it's through tutorials, whether it's through our blogs, whether it's through referrals or our shop, our e-commerce shop. There's so many ways. Well, at the end of the day, our goals are probably going to be pretty similar and pretty much the same, as any other site. Our sites are just much more complex, much more larger, which is going to mean that really putting that site architecture together is super important. And, I'll talk about some of the things that I use when starting out a brand new website, and also what I do, after the fact. Once you've got it up, doesn't websites aren't set it and forget it. Google and search engines or algorithms are changing constantly. So you have to really, 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 if this is your main form of revenue, which for Tim and I, it is our main form of revenue, our websites. It's like our storefront in a small town. So we have to stay on top of it. So updating it regular, I'll share with processes of what we do as well. And I'm actually going through it right now as we speak. So Tim, why don't you talk to him a little bit about what you were going to talk to him about?
Yeah. So the way I approach site architecture is like a outline. And outlining, I think it was like seventh grade. I had a teacher, a history teacher, that like drilled into us the process of outlining and organizing information, right?
Right.
And I thought it was so pointless and stupid at the time, but that's something that stuck with me, that ability to organize information from a high level and put it in an outline format. And that's how I do everything. That's how I write blog posts. It's how I do site architecture. It's how I, when David and I are planning courses that we're going to launch, it's basically how we organize the information and plan everything out. And so site architecture is no different. So if you think about your overarching purpose of your site, right? That's like the name of your site, right? So for example, it could be, I'm in San Clemente, California, so I'm just going to say San Clemente Web Design, right? So you might be, billybobswebdesign.com, but your main kind of overarching focus is, web design, right? That's like your title tag. And then you have, the different main areas of your site, right? You have about Billy Bob's, right? And then so that's like your if you're thinking of an outline, that's like your capital A, right? And then you have your services page. That's like your capital B. And then within your services, you might have web design, right? That's your number one. And then you might have SEO. That's your number two. And then you might have email marketing management. That might be your number three with under services, right? And then you have your contact page. That's your number, your capital C, and then like an outline format and stuff. And so basically, it's like a spider web of information organized in a hierarchy. And so hierarchy is key when it comes to good site architecture, because you don't want it just like, if you have a 50-page website, all of them are at the same hierarchy. You want some different levels to organize the content, right? You might want only, 5 top level pages. And then you have, each one of those might have 2 to 5 sub pages, right? And so planning out that site architecture in an outline format helps you organize things into that hierarchy of top level pages and sub pages and stuff. And then within each of those pages, you can then write a couple sentences of, what it's about, what it's going to accomplish, what the goal of each page is, right? And then from a search engine perspective, you could also bring in keyword research to then say, these are the keywords, the top level keywords that I'm targeting for each one of these pages. And a general rule of thumb is, especially if you're newer to SEO, is you want each page to have one goal, one main topic, one kind of main like set of keywords, right? For example, San Clemente web design in San Clemente, web designer in San Clemente, right? Those are like the different ways of essentially saying the same thing. And then you have another page that is San Clemente email marketer, right? And that's an entirely different page. And it's based off of that keyword research that you kind of plan out this site architecture. So that's the way I approach it in an outline format, having it be clear and organized with the right hierarchy of top level and sub pages. And it's all based on keyword research. Because remember, as David mentioned, it's important for users. You want it to be clear and organized, but it's also important for search engines. You don't want to necessarily have pages on your site that talk a lot about something that no one really searches for, right? And so it's like you want to build things around what people are actually searching for. And again, it's like search what you do for search engines and what you do for users. Even though we kind of talk about them in two different things, they're really one and the same, because
Right.
the search engine wants what's best for the user. And so again, if the search engine is saying this is what people are searching for, then you're going to naturally help the user best, because that's what people are searching for. So you're serving them while also serving the search engine. So hope that was clear. I know it's kind of a lot.
Yeah, no, it was clear. I think, for me, one of the things that I wanted to share when doing this process is Tim uses an outline. I use mind mapping software, because you can set that hierarchy. He's 100% on the money about, the importance of setting that structure and that hierarchy and stuff. And mind mapping software, for whatever reason, just clicks with my brain. It's like,
Yeah,
and you
totally.
got to find out what clicks for your brain. You may be a pen and paper person. I know lots of people who are pen and paper, and they need to write everything down and they need to map it out that way. My brain, I am not a pen and paper person.
You're
I am
visual.
a visual person. I need to see it. And if I can see it flow, it just makes sense to me. So, you know, lean towards your power and stuff.
Totally.
Your strengths, not power. Sorry. Wrong. Poor word choice there. So
Wrong podcast, David.
yeah, wrong podcast. So, now that's just why site architecture is so important. And it's not, you don't, in this day and age, there's a lot of competition. There are billions of websites on the internet. So the competition is just, speak English today, David. Speak English. Competition is just so stiff. And if you're just being willy-nilly and throwing something up just because you can say, yeah, I got a website, and guess what? It may work for the people that you verbally tell it to in person. Oh, yeah, I got a website. Go to mywebsite.com, whatever that is. That may work, but I can promise you that's going to be the only thing that works for you. Now, if you want to compete and be San Clementi's web designer, then you're going to need to make sure that you have it dialed in. And the content that you want to put on that website is solving those problems for people. It's not just simply saying, hey, I'm a web designer in San Clemente. Here's my address. Come hire me. If you can, put content. One thing I was talking about yesterday's episode was the services and products pages. It's an opportunity for SEO. Do the keyword research, like Tim said, and then write. If you can't write it yourself, and if you're not a good writer, hire somebody to write it for you. You want to get as many words on those pages as possible. It needs to make sense. It needs to solve problems, and it needs to, speak to the end user. It doesn't need to be a bunch of gobbledygook that you just throw on a page to try to capture, thinking that if I use words so many times, every other word is gonna do well. No, it's just not how it works. If you need to hire a writer. And these are some pages where you can gain an advantage over your competitors and stuff, because your competitors may just be bullet point listing out their services of web design, graphic design, logo creation, email marketing, SEO. And that may be all they do is those 10 to 15 words. I can promise you you're not going to win any SEO battles with something like that. If you break down each one of those pages, go into web design, why it's important, why is, if you even talk about some of this stuff, search engines are smart. You're educating the customers. They know it and stuff. So it can benefit you in the long run and stuff. So site architecture is huge. I know these episodes have been a little bit longer than we typically, do on WP, the podcast, but this is some of the most important information that's going to be game changers for your business. and we just wanted to try to cover it as much as we could in as much detail as we could. So if you've got any questions, drop us a comment down in the comment section on YouTube, wherever you're listening to this. Shoot us an email, head on over to wpgears.com, send us a message, and we'll gladly get back to you and stuff. Tim, we good?
We are good.
All right. Tomorrow, we've got another great topic: how to sell web design services effectively. If you're struggling, you better come tune in tomorrow, because we're going to give you some gold. Until tomorrow, we'll see you then.
Take care. Bye-bye.